Hi everybody and welcome back to my videos, whether you are watching on YouTube or Rumble, whichever one you happen to be watching this on. Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or Rumble channel, or whatever they call it on Rumble, whichever one you happen to be watching this on. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how the left and the mainstream media is desperate to connect MAGA to anything, to connect anything to right-wing violence with little to no evidence to back it up. They've already made a claim that there's more violence on the right-wing side than there is on the left-wing side, and I don't know how anybody with two eyes is buying it. Because I've been on social media for months, like on Twitter and stuff, and I've been seeing the people on the left celebrate and encourage violence for months. I've mentioned in previous videos that I've been seeing people on the left celebrate assassinations of CEOs. At Butler, they celebrated when Trump got shot, but then got mad when they found out that he survived, making videos ranting about it. And then, at the second incident, at Trump's golf course in Florida, when that guy missed, I think they was mad about that too. But after the first incident in Butler, I think Jack Black, who apparently had formed a band or something, one of his band members had a birthday, and about the same time that Trump was shot, and the guy whose birthday it was for his birthday wish, he said, "Don't miss next time." So, obviously referring to Trump's assassination. So, in other words, that guy who was in Jack Black's band or whatever that was basically calling for Trump's assassination at that time. And then, of course, weeks later, we had the second attempt at his golf course, and then after Trump won the 2024 election, you had people making TikToks and stuff, making videos, openly calling for violence against MAGA, against Trump supporters, and openly calling for Trump's assassination. The same people also celebrated the assassination of a CEO, United Healthcare CEO. Then you had all that, this business, this vandalizing against Tesla property, setting them on fire and committing terrorist acts against them. Okay, and most recent, Charlie Kirk's assassination, which was caused by left-wing rhetoric. Okay, people were using left-wing talking points about Charlie Kirk to justify his assassination. Those are probably the same left-wing talking points that convinced that shooter that he had to take out Charlie Kirk. Those are the same talking points that convinced that shooter, that inspired that shooter to take out Charlie Kirk. Okay? This business about how Charlie Kirk is a Nazi and a fascist, and you fill in the blank. And this business about how words are violent. Okay, all that rhetoric is what inspired the people who attempted to kill Trump twice. Well, I guess the second time it was a different shooter. And all that stuff. So we have loads of evidence against that there is left-wing violence, that all that left-wing ideology inspired people to violence. Especially since you're seeing it on Twitter. 8646. I mean, that's calling for the assassination. No, I'm sorry, 8647. I got it mixed up. 8646 was about impeaching Trump, and now impeaching Biden, because Biden was not facing death threats like Trump was. Okay? 86 can mean get rid of or impeach, like in a more peaceful way. But 86 in some context can mean kill, eliminate, assassinate. Okay, so 8647 means assassinate Trump, kill Trump, because Trump has already faced, at that point, 2 assassination attempts and a 3rd possible attempt that was prevented. That guy was very suspicious. But nonetheless, the left cheers it on violence and celebrates violence. And then you have, whenever you have riots, mostly peaceful protest. How are people buying this business about mostly peaceful protest? So the most recent one was the Charlie Kirk's assassination. Boom! They immediately try to pin that on MAGA. They immediately try to pin that on right-wing ideology. They immediately try to claim that Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's assassin, the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, was a Trump supporter, was MAGA. Nope. Because the guy had carvings on, I think bullet cases or something like that. He had engraved stuff from left-wing ideology. Hey, fascists, catch! And stuff like that from left-wing ideology. Now, apparently the guy's parents and family was MAGA, but he wasn't. And here's the thing. Why would somebody who was MAGA kill Charlie Kirk? A guy who was on their side. That doesn't make any sense. Who's buying it? And incidentally, I saw a YouTube channel called Ring of Fire where black guys trying to claim that the FBI cannot connect the Charlie Kirk assassin to left-wing ideology. How are people buying that? Okay? Left-wing talking points inspires people to violence. Like, words are violence. Trump supporters are Nazis. Trump is Hitler. You name a phobic, that's what Trump supporters are, that's what MAGA is, that's what conservatives are. Fill in the blank phobic. Okay? And now this most recent shooting in at a Mormon church in Michigan, they immediately try to blame that on MAGA. They immediately try to say, that this is right-wing violence. This is caused by right-wing propaganda. And apparently, they're using pictures of a guy wearing a shirt that shows that he's a Trump supporter. Or from I think 2019, I believe. But, I mean, before they were showing they just trying to connect it to MAGA with some random, a sign, which we don't know if that's a sign that's a Trump, Trump Vance sign, which we don't know if that sign was actually in his yard or if that's a random sign or what. I'm skeptical of the authenticity of that sign. I wouldn't put it past him to fake it if that was just someone else's sign. I want all these things authenticated. Even that photo, I want that photo authenticated, and I want to make sure that is the same guy. Okay? Because that shirt is supposed to be proof that the guy is MAGA, the guy voted for Trump. And that picture's from 2019, if I saw the date yet, right? Either 2019 or 2018, somewhere in that area. And that shirt said something about making a fascist cry or making someone who was anti-Trump. So something to that effect, I don't remember. Other people who have made videos responding to that, so you can check it out on them. Like The Officer Tatum, Liberal Hive Mind. You can see that picture on their channels. But the point is, let's assume for a second that this guy was a Trump supporter, at least in 2018 or 2019. That doesn't mean that he still is a Trump supporter, number one. And even if he was, that doesn't mean that MAGA talking points or MAGA ideology had anything to do with his shooting up a Mormon church. Okay? That doesn't prove anything. First of all, there was no MAGA ideology that speaks against Mormons. Okay? In fact, I would imagine that many Trump supporters, many MAGA people were Mormons. Okay? So even if this guy happened to be a Trump supporter, we don't know what his motive is. We don't know if he happened to have something against Mormons or what. The guy's motive is unknown. Okay? In order for it to be political, in order for this to be a MAGA violence, right-wing violence, first of all, you would have to prove that there was MAGA ideology speaking against Mormons. And not only that, using language that might incite violence against Mormons. Okay? There isn't any. Even if that guy was MAGA at one point, or still is, that doesn't mean that his being a Trump supporter or a Trump voter had anything to do with his attack at that Mormon church in Michigan. Okay? It's still currently under investigation. His motive is still unknown. And whatever his motive was, even if this guy was a Trump supporter, unlike the left, we condemn pretty much all forms of violence aside from self-defense. Actual self-defense. And clearly, this incident at that church, that Mormon church, that shooting, and then it was lit on fire. Last I heard, there was 4 people dead so far. I don't know if it's still going up or what. That right there is not self-defense. That is a mass murder. And no MAGA ideology supports that. We call that out. We condemn it. That is wrong. Okay? It is wrong. Okay? We don't know what this guy was going through. If this was some kind of... because the guy was a veteran. If he has some kind of mental breakdown or what. The guy's motive is unknown. Okay? But right now, I am skeptical that he was a Trump voter. Maybe it's because of all this misinformation that I've already seen so far. Immediately trying to connect shooters to Trump. I think that's their new, what do they call it? I think that's their new talking point. Every time there's a shooting, it's Trump's fault. the shooter was MAGA. Like, really? I mean, that's what I think is happening. And right now, I want all these things authenticated. I want to wait for other facts to come out, see what comes out about this. And then I will make up my mind what to believe. And like I said, even if this guy was MAGA, even if this guy was a Trump supporter, it proves nothing. That it still wouldn't be MAGA violence. It still wouldn't be considered right-wing violence. Because right-wing ideology does not speak anything against Mormons. Okay? And maybe some Mormons are more right-leaning. In fact, I believe Mormonism, I would think, would lean more to the right, wouldn't it? I mean, wouldn't they be conservatives? So it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for someone to do that. For someone who was a Trump supporter to shoot up a MAGA church, a Mormon church, based on MAGA ideology or right-wing ideology. Okay, so if this guy actually did it, he had a different motive for doing so. That was not related to right-wing ideology. Okay? Now, the left, on the other hand, they celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. They celebrate his assassination. Some of them even calling for more. And there's been so much going on, other stuff going on, other forms of right-wing violence going on, that I can't keep up with them all. I just can't keep up with them all. There's so much been going on. Like that shooting at the ice facility in Dallas. I mean, I can't keep up with them all. There's so much more acts of definite right-wing violence. Now again, Michigan, motive is unknown. It might not be left-wing violence either. But that doesn't mean that left-wing violence is not happening. It just means that this particular time, it wasn't. Okay? Well, that is it for this video. Bye.